Fellow Southern Cameroonians, good evening. Now, Miss Summer Thomas. I don't just listen for some audio from my fellow comrade Mike Fulsey concerning the charade where it take place for Canada, where La Republic say if they go to vote join for go talk with Southern Cameroonians. Two people in the will call them out for this audio. May they explain for Southern Cameroonians exactly what it be transferred for Canada because they be there for day. Comrade John Akoro and Madame Marietta Njomia coupling it up with Mr. Abongwa Harrison. Why don't I name that? I believe in I name. Make these three people, I don't name them, so make they come out. They explain for Southern Cameroonians the way they bring them back for Canada. Because since these people come back for Canada, some of we know they put our ears on the ground like elephant. For this, they tell which way they bring them back for Canada. For these three people, which way they bring them back for Canada now, a top secret where they agree with La Republic. Say they don't even let them out in other Southern Cameroon here. Yes, for these three people, man, name the show. Which way they bring them out from Canada now, a top secret. And it did say Dr. Florentine. It be different even make mistake. Enjoy the bandwagon. Make Dr. Florentine, Marianta Njomia, Abongwa Harrison, Comrade John Akoro. Make them use their various social media outlets. They explain deeply which way they go for Canada, so go discuss them with La Republic. And they also explain for Southern Cameroonians this document with La Republic it flood them for social media when an encyclopedia where La Republic don't put them out there. So I not see how a one-day conference it will produce an encyclopedia. We Shakespeare to write them. But I be so say for all the books the way Shakespeare, William Shakespeare write them. No one not get this volume where this one day charade for Canada. You get them. So I don't know whether Marietta and Jomia, Abongwa Harrison, and my friend Comrade Akoro and Dr. Florentine, they be aware of this encyclopedia you don't write them on their behalf. Because all of them are a signature to this encyclopedia. Will I don't write them? Dr. Florentine, if I told me for Canada, but it didn't say me for the. I'm not sure. Comrade John Akoro, Comrade Dr. Abongwa Harrison, Marianta Njomia, they be for Canada. Make them come out, they defend this Bugula Republic. You don't put them out now, so. In front, Southern Cameroonians. If them no go defend this Bugula Republic, don't put them out. Then, the judgment, all Southern Cameroonians will make their conclusions about these four persons. We might not call their name. And I go also like make this Pocto Parole, where they call and say that Prince Jeka, the chief priest, and his mass servants, Eric Akaba, Nzale Clovis, Nanchop Clovis or Nanchobu. Now, which other funny guy again inside this their cabal? I go once and make these women don't call their name. So the chief priest, Prince Jeka, Eric Akaba, Nzale Clovis Nanchop, make the command explain for Southern Cameroonians in detail what to be the outcome of their president, Marianta Tiboya. What he bring them back for Canada. He go bring that decentralization. Or he go, because Marianta Njomia is a signatory to this encyclopedia which La Republic has just put out there. Abongo Harrison is a signatory to this encyclopedia which La Republic has put out there. John Baakoro is a signatory to this encyclopedia which La Republic has put out there. And Dr. Florentine is a signatory to this encyclopedia which La Republic put out there. Because if you go into this encyclopedia which La Republic has published out there, you will get the names of all these people that have mentioned them here. Let them explain to Southern Cameroonians first by distancing themselves from this encyclopedia and explaining to Southern Cameroonians what they discussed in Canada and what was agreed upon and what is in this book agreed upon and what was never agreed upon. They owe Southern Cameroonians an explanation what they went to. So when you see this Alana days, like my people used to call them, when Marianta and Abonga Harrison came back, they play a prank like husband and wife. Comedians. They've written their script. They sat in front of the camera. Abonga will say this and will say this, and Marianta will complete it. Like real comedians. We need to get them now come out to explain their script to us to understand. For we are not getting anything. Since they came back from Canada, they are hiding the truth of what they went and discussed with La Republic, and La Republic has finally come up with the truth of what they discussed in Canada. It is now left on them to either confirm that this is what we agreed upon, or distance themselves from it, and also explain to the people of Southern Cameroons why they went to Canada. What was the agreement before going to, what was their understanding before going to Canada? For you cannot just carry a yam head. I'm sorry to say that. You cannot just carry your head because La Republic is inviting you in Canada or elsewhere. You are going there that you want to go and meet La Republic for any discussion without asking who. But the very first question I asked was that meeting organized by John Gute or Mr. Paul Biya? For if that meeting was organized by John Gute and to be chaired by John Gute, I see no reason going. But if it's organized by Mr. Paul Biya, asking the Canadian government to facilitate on that talks, meaning, and again, there must be one thing to be understood by everybody before I can accept such a meeting. There must be no taboo subject, and there must be an intermediary. Like Comrade Mike has said, there must be a mediator that is going to sit in between the two persons to mediate. A third party must be there. Did Marianta, Dr. Florentine, Comrade Njomba Akoro, and Abonga Harrison, were they guaranteed by the Canadian government that Canada was a mediator? Or what was the point of paying their flight? I'm sure Mr. Porto-Parole, Prince J.K. has descended from the point of fighting for the independence of Southern Cameroon, and he has descended low to contribute money to pay Maranta's flight to go and meet her uncle, John Gute, in Canada to discuss on special status. Bravo, J.K., that you've descended back to where Moja Moja is. I can now understand why the JKs of the world have never wanted this war to get into Fako, to get into Victoria. They've seen the Bamida man as a sacrificial lamb to be dying and to be destroyed. Why they sit on social media space insulting the Bamida people there. About a year ago or 2 years ago, I put out an audio and I was struggling to highlight something in that audio and asking Southern Cameroon, do they know that all the settlements that La Republic had completely destroyed in Boya are carefully earmarked settlements by the people of Bamenda that La Republic had completely destroyed? So this was a scheme by the JKs of the world. Like they went in their meeting in Faku. I made a funny thing they call a constitution. That they should just be dancing behind the people of Bamenda. So that when we fight and achieve the independence of Southern Cameroons, they in Boya should now fight to create the independent state of Boya. I don't know how they will call it on that day. That is the fight that we are fighting. Like in the 90s, in 1992, Frunji asked Hamani Biala and the Francophones that who is fighting who? Is it Union for Change fighting against the SDF or fighting against the CPDM? Who is fighting who? Now, is it the Boya man fighting against the Bamenda man or fighting against La Republic? Who is fighting who? Let JK comes out and tell Southern Cameroonians who is fighting who. What is JK fighting for? That we should reach Boya for him and his cronies to wage another war in the Southern Cameroon for the independence of Boya, or whatever name that we will call it on that day. That is why they've run to meet John Gute, their brother, as they will call it, their uncle, as they will call him, to negotiate on special status for an indivisible Cameroon, like Moja Moja is saying. I wonder why Moja Moja, in all Moja Moja's crime that he's committing in Boya, all the people that Moja Moja had killed in Boya, all of them are from Bamenda. A well-calculated scheme against the people of Bamenda. Who is fighting who? When this guy was killed in Boya, who was running a hotel in Boya, that was killed by Ekema. The true story of the death of that guy was that this guy was from Bamenda and all his investment is in Boya. Let us kill him because, first of all, the wife is from Boya. We should kill him so as to confiscate his property. And not that this guy was killed by Lara Public. A well-masterminded scheme against the man of Bamenda. Who defied who? Now my take on this audio. Who is fighting who? Jega, you guys should come out and tell the people of the Southern Cameroons what was discussed in Canada, what was agreed upon, that I saw this funny girl and Abunga Harrison playing pranks like husband and wife, that they want to tell Southern Cameroonians about what transpired in Canada. Until date, we haven't gotten anything that transpired in Canada. Our ears are widely open now, waiting to hear from Marianta and Abongwa Harrison, John Bakuro and Dr. Florentine, what they discussed in Canada. Me too, Sama Thomas, at 1 year, I've been very, very eager for a year, which we would have talked about Canada. Maybe I end up for a year. They wait for an explanation. If not, Southern Cameroonians should now know exactly who are the sellouts in this struggle. Jeka is number one. Marianta Jomia, Abongwa Harrison, Johnba Akoro, Dr. Florentine, Eric Nzale, Clovis, what do you call it? Nzale or Nzale Clovis, Eric Akaba, Clovis Nanchop. You guys should beware. Southern Cameroonians, beware of these names that I have called. Listen to them at your own risk. Sama Thomas.